So it's another one of those days where I'm recording a video while sitting here on my break at work. Um, I would like to squeeze out more videos. It's just the this whole thing's pretty time consuming. Um, I mean, pretty much any extra time I have, I use it to try to squeeze in some art. And it's hard to justify working on the videos, but I feel like it keeps me accountable. It really keeps me focused. Um, so I think that there's a lot of benefits to it. It's hard, like I said, justifying spending the time. It's more kind of passive benefits. So yesterday I turned in my assignment to Glenn. I should get it back sometime this evening or tomorrow morning, and I can continue on those other pages I was working on. This was me. I was actually starting a third page. I have this idea for a panel that was using the new sort of compositional techniques that Glenn was talking about. Basically, what he was trying to teach us is when you have a picture plane like this, the first thing I was working on was composition and elements that run parallel to the picture plane. Now he's starting to work on having elements that move back into the picture plane. And you get this like sweeping movement going back in. So what I'm gonna have here is the character that I've been working on. As she's reacting to what she saw in that last panel, we snap and see behind her of these sort of like bad guys jumping in, about to kind of beat the crap out of her. And be kind of like, it'll be right on a page turn, so it'll be like a sudden like, whoa, what was that sort of thing. But anyways, it's more about experimenting with having these characters and this depth created here as we go back into the picture. And I'm kind of slowly bringing it together. I think this is a good example of how I kind of work, of like throwing things together a little bit. Just kind of fluid, feeling the composition and kind of feeling things coming together. But yeah, and here's
Oh,
what's up?
do you want this on your desk?
What is it?
It's a formal demand, certified mail returned.
Just a sec. Sorry about that. I really should leave my desk and not try to squeeze in time while I'm, even with my door shut and locked. People come in wanting something at work. But anyways, this is what I turned in. Van Illustration offers some suggestions with the runner, with trying to correct her torso a little bit. And I worked on that, and I feel like it kind of helped. I worked on really determining what I was looking at for the angle. Oops. Here, let me grab a weird color so I can talk about what I was doing. So, really focusing on seeing the shape in space, getting these planes coming down, coming back like this, and seeing that in space, and sort of really getting the idea of this rib cage coming through here. I guess even that's probably a little off. Like I said, I saw what Van was talking about and helping the rib cage. I feel like I got something going on, but I don't know. I'll probably clean it up a little bit after I get some words back from Glenn. He's more critiquing purely on composition at this point. But overall, I think, I'm feeling happy with it. I'm feeling like, all right, I feel like I've learned a lot already in this class that I'm taking. I've definitely stepped up my composition game a little bit. I was able, I feel, finally to get all these trees up in the background of the top panel to not be so similar and not just be repetitive, and have like an interesting play with them and feel sort of energized as she's, you know, running across. I feel like I did pretty good on this bottom panel here with the with this like space going back and pointing to these bad guys up here. So I like that. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm excited to hear what Glenn has to say about it. I'm sure he's gonna dish out the tough love again. And then I got this guy. I'm feeling good about this. I feel like I really like the trees and the things that I'm playing with. I like that this sort of thing here and this here creates like a sort of unstable sort of feeling in the frame, and the way she's kind of precariously squatting down. I was trying to use that to kind of foreshadow of like, oh, you know, this isn't as serene and peaceful as it appears. And then kind of trying to make these trees down here at the bottom panel look kind of ominous and freaky. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see what he says, see how it goes. I'm sure he's going to have a whole litany of things that I can fix, but this is back where I'm at here. Starting this next page, I'm thinking, so far I kind of like how this is working out. Like I said, it works for like a kind of like a double whammy again, where it's like I'm using what he suggested in the composition class as something to play and learn, and using that to make the next page, the page 3, or I guess it'll be page 4. But what I'm thinking here for the overall is having this panel here come down like something kind of like that, and then have the bottom third like I did something different. I may do the bottom third into like, you know, a classic thing like that, or it might be fun to do. I don't know. I'll mess with that a little bit, the actual full layout. But overall, I'm liking where this panel is starting so far. It might look messy and not make much sense to someone looking at it, but basically, this guy's coming down here with this fist, and he has this other fist coming up here. We're gonna have this like big guy here. He's gonna have like some sort of club weapon coming down. And this guy's coming up from behind him. He's gonna be like jumping down. He's gonna have like a whole club weapon. And this guy's coming across. He's gonna have a big old thing going on here. So yeah, and she's like still sitting here, sort of reacting to what she's seeing off screen here, which is another compositional tool that Glenn has suggested to use. I might add more people, like a whole crowd, like piling down on her. I don't know, that'll really like kick up the dramatics, I guess. But anyways, I've made, yesterday was the first day where I actually almost didn't make it to my 20 minutes. I have a friend that's going through some stuff, and she and I went for a long hike starting in the morning, and then next thing I know, the day had kind of passed, and my wife and I were settling in to watch the new episode of Game of Thrones, and my wife actually reminded me, like, hey, have you drawn today? Like, what's the deal? And I was like, oh shit, I actually have not drawn at all today. You know, and it was just like, damn. She was like, well, you can't watch Game of Thrones. You better go out there and get your stuff done. And so, you know, I went and did 20 to 30 minutes, got it finished, submitted it to Glenn, and I kind of like this whole thing. And luckily my wife was there. I mean, it was weird. It was like, that was the first time. I mean, I've been obsessed with it lately, and to just completely space it, I was just under a lot yesterday. So yeah, day 38, and I started doing something. I tried something. I don't know. Maybe I'm being crazy, but I actually, there's this new small indie Comic-Con happening here this year around my birthday. I think it's called IndieCon of Portland or something like that. And it looked really small and like some cool local creators and like independent publishers and that kind of thing. And I was like, one of the things Glenn's always been telling me is that a good way to learn is to actually teach. And so I was like, you know what? One of the big things that I've always wanted to do is like do a panel or be involved in a Comic-Con. I've never been involved. I like go to them every year. I go to multiple cons every year. I'm a sucker for them. But I've always wanted to like help out, be part of it. And so I reached out to the people doing this con and was like, hey, I would like to do like a short lecture on analytical figure drawing or something like that. Thinking they're not going to write back to me or anything. And they did. Like, I was surprised. It actually went to my spam folder. And then I saw that they had written me back. And I was like, well, and they basically said, hey, look, we're currently trying to figure out our scheduling. It might be a little too late, but we'd really like to try and squeeze you in, here are some days that we might be able to fit you. But we're, just warning you, like, it's, a couple months away, or like a month away, so we might not make it. But we're going to try. We're going to try to get you in there and have you do a panel on this topic that you suggested, this importance of life drawing and analytical figure drawing, which is basically the sort of school of thought that I learned from Glenn, which I think is really important. I think it's maybe I'll do another video about that again later today. I feel like with art, there's almost like different schools of thought, like with martial arts or something, where they're all sort of aiming for the same purpose, but they go about different ways of achieving the same result. For example, the Florentine versus the Venetian school back in the Renaissance, and the way those different schools have sort of evolved. But I don't know. I'm actually someone who's had a long history of sort of difficulties with anxiety and depression, and I've been trying to go out of my way to get ahead of that and challenge that and sort of see what I can do to overcome that a little bit. Not overcome it, like, I guess just work with it better. And I kind of like that right there. That's showing some depth. But so I've been doing all these things like this YouTube video and trying to finish a page and that kind of thing to try and get somewhere with all that. And I felt like that, I don't know, I think that's why I reached out to that Comic-Con, and I would be happy to do that. That's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's really out of my comfort zone. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, if they're able to squeeze me in. I definitely have a lot, even just from studying with Glenn. I studied with Scott Eaton for a while, took a few of his classes. He was really great. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It might not turn out into anything, but even just the fact that it's like I went out of my way and reached out to him, that's not like me usually. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, this is the end of day 38. I can't believe I made it this far. This is definitely the longest I've ever made it. Cruising along pretty good. I haven't produced as many pages as I want, pretty much because Glenn's really he's told me he wants me to really just tear down the pages as much as possible to try and learn as much as possible from him. So yeah, it's going pretty good. Day 38. I found a couple new other videos to watch, other people that have done this 100-day thing, and I'm getting quite a kick out of it. So yeah. All right. Thanks again.